Hey, Kaylee Dog. Kaylee Dog. What game do you want to play today? Do you want to do Newtopia on the PC Engine? Alright, let's do that. It's simple by today's standards, that's true, but when this game first came out, it was truly innovative. So this game fucks. It fucks, bro. You want to get fucked by a game, dude? Go buy yourself a Legend of Zelda copy. Fucking have sex with that cartridge, man. Put your fucking dick in it. It's got battery backup. It'll remember what you did. I don't remember. This is the thing, man. The game doesn't forget. You fuck the game, dude, it fucking remembers. You can't hide that shame, dude. Now, you go fuck something like Commando or Karnov, yeah, those games will forget. Tetris? Fuck, have sex with it, dude. It doesn't matter. It's got short-term memory, dude. Second you turn the console off, it forgot what you did. Zelda remembers, though. Fucking right it does. Okay. I hate this. And let's try this again. I can't get this right. All right. Take 500. Here we go. 500. Here we go. We're going to get this one right, huh? Okay. Fuck it. Let's go. Hello, you little nasties. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, the Nasty Bedazzler. Today I'm going to be talking about a game called Neutopia on the Turbografx-16. But before we can talk about that one, I need to talk about another little game you may have heard of called The Legend of Zelda. Now, let's talk about that one first, okay? Today I got my fingerless gloves on, and The Legend of Zelda was released in Japan in 1986 for the Famicom, and it was released in the United States and in Europe in 1987. Now, it's simple by today's standards, but when this game first released, it was truly innovative, okay? So, this game introduced like dozens of items that you could use. There was a huge world that you could explore, and aside from just technical innovations like the gameplay, i.e. finding items, battling monsters in real time, exploring the vast world, which as a kid, this world seemed enormous. It was a successful formula and it became widely copied. Now, the key phrase here is widely copied, and that's about what we're going to go into here with Newtopia. I almost forgot what game we were reviewing, but Newtopia, it is the most blatant Zelda ripoff you will ever find, okay? But that doesn't make it a bad game. In fact, Newtopia is actually really good. And I'm going to say this before the review even starts. I strongly suggest you play this game. I like it a lot, and it's a lot of fun. And the reason I'm saying this now is because I know that in this review video, I bitch a lot about this game, and that's just the kind of person that I am. I'm negative. I complain about everything. So I want to just get this out in the open first of all. I like this game a lot. It's really fun. But it has its flaws. I'm going to bitch about all of them. But that being said, this game kicks ass. If you have a PC Engine or a Turbografx-16 or even just an emulator on your PC, I strongly urge you to check this one out and at least give it a chance. Now, that being said, let's go into some details here really quick about the game. Then we'll go into the garbage story. Then we'll go into the review, okay? So this was released in 1989 in Japan for the PC Engine. It was released in 1990 on the Turbografx-16 in America, and it was developed by Hudson Soft. There's a sequel called Newtopia 2, and I've heard that that game fixes all the flaws with this one. So if that's the case, I'm definitely going to be taking a look at that one too, and I might do that one on the next review because if it does that, if it fixes the flaws in this game, that game probably kicks all the ass, and I am excited to check that one out. But now that being said, let's go into the story really quick, which as I mentioned is absolute garbage, and then we'll go right into the review. So let's get to that. So the game starts out with a princess being kidnapped, which might sound familiar, and with very little backstory as to why, you were the one tasked with getting her back, but it's not that simple. Everyone seems to know that before you can get her back, you have to collect a bunch of medallions first, just like the Triforce, and it's as if this has happened 100 times before, and this is just a standard procedure here to get the princess back. There's no real explanation as to why. Everyone just knows that if you want to get her back, this is the bullshit hoops you need to jump through. Quite frankly, nobody in this game has put in a good word on the princess's behalf. I mean, I'm not really sure what good she did for this kingdom, or even if she was a good princess. Like, did she cut taxes and decrease the poverty rate? Did unemployment decline while she was second in command? How does this affect the king and queen, and why haven't they sent their army out looking for her? Do they even want her back? Because it seems like they don't. So many unanswered questions, but I guess since Zelda is a princess and needs to be rescued, this princess, who is named Aurora, but I don't know if that's ever even mentioned in-game, needs to be rescued as well, even if she sucked at her job, which I bet she did, and she makes me physically sick, like I'm fucking puking in a Walmart bag right now as I write this, and it has holes in it because they always do. In Zelda, there's a bit of story, like you're the chosen one named Link, and you are somehow linked to the princess, and Ganon is a pig monster that straight fucks. In this game, everyone is just like, we didn't want to do anything to help, but we used to have fun, and now we're not, and it's your fault. So now you, Gisetta, who is the main protagonist, has to get her back. There's the story. People will help you if they can and won't when they don't have to. You'll find tons of people everywhere that have weird shit to say, but not many of them want to really help you, so it's up to you to find this random princess for no reason. Again, people will consistently mention how things used to be way more fun before the princess was kidnapped just mere hours ago, but the story here pretty much sucks. There's also people that will sell you shit when they should just be giving it to you for free, which again just makes me think they don't really care if you get the princess back. If they really wanted you to get her back, they wouldn't charge you for shit. What a bunch of selfish fucking assholes that want their cake and eat it too. Gisetta very bluntly should ask these people like, which one do you want more, the princess back or financial gain for your own selfish bullshit? Of course, because the protagonist is too much of a nice guy, much like myself, to say anything. It's just the way it has to be. For now. What differentiates this game from Zelda is that there isn't one large open world, and that's essentially the only difference. This game is split into multiple different worlds, or spheres as the game calls them, that aren't accessible from each other and mostly inaccessible until you reach certain points, as opposed to Zelda where it is one large open map where you can go anywhere you want whenever you want. I think that was Hudson's attempt at being different, but also makes this game a little less fun to explore than Zelda. With each new area, it's clear that the developers were trying to make the game unique, and each area is unique from one another, but this also makes the game artificially longer by adding tons of random useless shit into each section. Newtopia is considerably larger than Zelda, but at the same time, there's so much more wasted space. There are tons of screens in this game, with most of them being pointless and having tons of pointless secret caves and whatnot to meander into, while wasting your bombs and achieving nothing, but unfortunately, 1 out of every 100 of these secret caves does have something important in them, which means you can't just skip over these secrets. You have to tediously bomb every single one and go into each one just to make sure there isn't an armor or sword upgrade, or even something else like a lantern or a ladder, which I'll talk about the lantern in about 93 seconds. Most of this game's map exists just to fill with enemies and damage you and make the game superficially difficult. There are also dungeons you need to explore and conquer with a boss at the end. These are found in a linear fashion, so unlike Zelda, you will be doing these in the order that the game wants you to. There's nothing really memorable about them, and they're pretty straightforward. The only reason these get harder as you go on is because the enemy's health bar increases dramatically over the course of the game, so you end up taking way more damage throughout each dungeon simply because enemies take forever to kill. You also have a life bar similar to Zelda's, but instead of finding hearts, you get a free complimentary health upgrade from this sorceress when you complete a dungeon because you're such a good boy, as this woman puts it. Again, I'm pretty sure these people really don't want you to get the princess back, because why wouldn't this bitch just give you all the health in the world at the start to make things a little easier, since she obviously has the power to do it? What a fucking whore, dude, seriously. Like, comment, subscribe to this channel if you think this sorceress is a selfish little slut. Just like in Zelda, this game has a ton of power-ups and useful items you'll find along the way. Many of these are found in dungeons, but some are found on the world map as well, which again, like I just mentioned, are typically found in secret areas, but they aren't so secret since they are very obvious on the map that you need to bomb it to check it out. Many power-ups just give your character a better chance of surviving, but there are also useful items you can use, like a wand that shoots fire, which I found myself using often to steer clear of the many enemies because they can damage you 900 times a second, which I'll bitch about later. You can find a ring that transforms the tougher enemies on a screen into weaker ones, which is really useful later on in the game when enemies take roughly 8 million hits each to kill. A potion that restores your health, which is useful for the most obvious reasons. A ladder that lets you cross small gaps, just like in Zelda, and a lantern that lights up the dark screen. And there goes my dog. She's snoring. Some of these items too are missable, like the lantern, and while you can beat the game without it, it will definitely make things suck a lot more for you not having it. Items like the lantern too, it behooves me why these aren't automatically used in sections where you would want to use them instead of having to equip it, press a button to light the room, then switch your item back to something like the wand. If you have the lantern, you're obviously going to use it in a dark room, so why not just make it automatic to streamline the gameplay and reward you for finding it in the first place? Don't make it tedious to use. For example, the ladder is used automatically when crossing a small gap, so why can't the lantern be used automatically when you enter a dark room? This would be a nice quality of life improvement that I can't believe that I can't believe the devs didn't think of, and I know it's a small nitpick, but one I couldn't stop thinking about every time I had to use it. It's not a big deal, but little touches like that would go a long way to making this a better game. Essentially, Newtopia is straight up the Legend of Zelda with better graphics and worse mechanics. It's basically your wife's hotter sister. It's going to be impossible to not constantly compare this one to Zelda, since it's obvious that it straight up ripped that game off in almost every conceivable way. It comes really close to mimicking the gameplay of Zelda, but it fails on a few fronts. Or it succeeds depending on how you want to look at it, but since Zelda came first, like your mom, and since this game is trying so desperately to be that one, I have to consider Zelda the benchmark. First off, Newtopia is more difficult in a cheap way. In Zelda, if an enemy is on the same plane as you and in any way in front of your sword, you can hit it. In this game, there's a small hitbox for most enemies regardless of their size, but your hitbox is huge, and actually bigger than the character you control, who is already huge for a game like this. For example, some enemies are twice your size, but you can only hit the lower third of their sprite, but they can damage you with their entire body, so if you lightly graze a tail or the top of a head, you're going to take damage. But if you hit that part of them with the sword, many times they will take no damage. That can be infuriating and not a problem you will have with Zelda. Now, true to life, this makes more sense. On one side, like, yeah, if you were above somebody and tried to hit them with a sword, obviously it wouldn't connect. And if this went both ways, where they wouldn't damage you while walking above them, there would be no complaint here, but that's not how it works, so that sucks, and it is constantly frustrating. So we're gonna do a video demonstration of this because this will make it easier to explain. So, here's how the enemy hit detection works in Newtopia. So we've got Kaylee Dog right here, and Riley Dog is confused. She's always confused. She's not very smart, but she's into Sweetie Pie. So we got Kaylee here. So now, in Newtopia, right, this is a sword. Now, if I were right here, right, I am not on the same plane as Kaylee Dog. So she's here, I'm right here. So if I try to hit her with a sword, it goes right by her. See? So that doesn't connect. Easy enough. Now if I were in front of her and I tried to hit her with the sword, well then it would connect. Easy peasy, right? But let's change the angle and then let's take a look at this again. But see, now that the angle is changed, right? So now that the angle is changed, we still got Kaylee Dog right here. Riley Dog is still confused. So now you can see I still can't hit Kaylee even though it looks like I can, but it's still just going right through her. However, in the game, because it looks like Kaylee is overlapping with my character, I would be taking damage right now. And that kind of sucks in this game. That's how that works. Go get it. Go get it. Go get your toy. Okay. Most enemies are designed to take advantage of this cheap bullshit, and you'll find yourself taking a ton of damage from this crap throughout the entire game. Enemies also have a small invincibility window after taking damage, so you can't always immediately hit them again after you've already successfully hit them. Usually games only do this for the hero in the game to give you a brief moment to escape danger. However, this game only does this for the enemies, and it will piss you the fuck off. It can ruin the timing of your hits, and you end up taking damage even when you got an enemy pinned down for what would normally be an easy kill. This doesn't ruin the game, but it is very frustrating consistently throughout, and you will find yourself screaming at the TV and scaring your dogs many times while playing this one. Get the fuck out of here! Regardless, that's what it is. If you've played a Zelda game, you get it. If you haven't, I seriously don't know why you're watching this video because you don't belong here. The graphics here are pretty great and put Zelda to shame in every possible way, although that's to be expected, as this is a more powerful console and this game came out 3 years after Zelda debuted on the NES. Now, if I were Patrick Bateman, I'd say the music is chirpy, upbeat, and an all-around real treat to listen to. It's not going to win any Grammys because we need to have realistic expectations here for what this console is capable of doing, but if it did win a Grammy, I'd probably hate it. Overall though, the graphics and music are great, and I've got zero complaints here. Ultimately, this game will last you about 6 to 8 hours on your first playthrough, which isn't bad at all. It doesn't overstay its welcome, and it ends before it gets too tedious. Now, on a side note, and I'm going off script here, I know some people are probably going to mention like Rondo of Blood, like Castlevania, the music on that, and yeah, that music slaps on that game, and there's no denying that, but that's the CD. I'm talking about Hue cards here. So, the music on the Hue card games, it can only do so much. It's just very standard chip tunes. But yeah, Rondo of Blood, though, I get it. It's got like the best music on any game ever made. So obviously the console can do great music, but that's the CD, and this is not. So, do I recommend this game? It boils down to this. Do you like the original Zelda on the NES? Do you like games where exploration is the main focus? And lastly, are you one of the 200 people that have a Turbografx-16 or one of the millions that have a PC engine? If you answered yes to any of these questions, I would say give this one a shot. It definitely sticks out on a console where shmups are by far the most prevalent genre, and while I love the console for that, it's nice to see that Hudson Soft at least attempted something different and tried to give console owners their own version of Zelda, and for the most part it succeeded. So, there you have it. Another positive review for a game finally on my PC engine, or Turbografx-16 if you want to be American about it. And I'm going to go off script here, and I'm just going to say again, I know I complained about this game a lot, and I mentioned this in the intro, but that's just what I do. I'm a half, or like a glass half empty sort of guy, and I do dwell on the negatives here, but this game was really fun. I liked it a lot, and I seriously, if you like RPGs, if you like Zelda, check this one out. You can't go wrong with this. And I think the next video I'm going to do is just going to be for the sequel, because if that fixes the issues I had with this game, that game is going to kick total ass. And so we'll probably be checking that one out next, but you never know. I mean, it might get mixed up. I might watch a GameSack episode and randomly see a game that I just think looks awesome and want to do that one instead. But as of right now, we'll probably be looking at doing Newtopia 2 next week, so stay tuned for that. And if you guys like this content, again, all I ask of you is just to click like and hit subscribe, and go ahead and leave a comment if you've played this one before, if you got an opinion on it. Yeah, just leave a comment there, let me know what you think of it, and in the meantime, I'll see you guys on the next video. Again, thanks for watching.
What the hell are you doing?
It's just pure mindless vandalism.